I'm Dave Pomeroy, and you're watching for BassPlayersOnly.com.
Hi everyone, John Liebman here. You're watching for BassPlayersOnly.com. Coming to you today on location from Nashville, Tennessee at the 2017 Summer NAMM Show with our old friend, Mr. Nashville himself, Dave Pomeroy. Hey Dave.
How you doing? Good to have you here.
Thank you. Thank you for your hospitality. We did another interview. As a matter of fact, it was in Nashville at a Summer NAMM Show. It was a few years ago. We got the great story of your upbringing and lots of great stories and funny stuff. By the way, that interview, of course, is still there. If you go to forbassplayersonly.com and in the little search thing, Dave Pomeroy, and it'll pop right up. So let's talk about, boy, I saw you perform last night. It's always such a joy seeing you perform because your personality just comes right through your playing. And I don't know how what do you play, like 4 instruments at a time, 4 basses at a time? This one's hanging from the ceiling, and this one is an upright, this one's an electric.
It gets a little crazy. It can be as many as 3 in one song live, but I use effects, multi-effects, and loopers to kind of create the illusion of a whole band on certain songs, but all coming from the bass, which is my silly restriction on myself. You can do anything you want as long as it's on a bass.
There you go. And you performed your classic, The Day the Bass Players Took Over the World. I love that. If you haven't heard that, you got to check it out. But 3 years or whatever it is, that's a long time in the busy life and career of Dave Pomeroy. So bring us up to date on what you've been up to or what's keeping you busy these days.
Well, thank you. About 9 years ago now almost, I got elected president of the Musicians Union here in Nashville, which is about 2.5 full-time jobs. So it keeps me pretty hopping, and I love getting musicians paid. It's my second favorite thing after playing the bass. And so I've been playing more, and I've been working on a new project. I have a new album just completed, 10 years in the making, that just came out a few weeks ago.
And it's called?
It's called Angel in the Ashes, and it's kind of, the title track is the story of what happened to me right after I was elected to the union. Coincidentally, I had a house fire that was devastating, and I lost my dog, and I lost some instruments, and it just turned my whole life upside down at a time when I was already going through a lot of changes. And so the song is about kind of the redemption that I found through that process, and realizing how many incredible people there are in the world that want to help other people, and people you barely know become your friends through these kind of tragic experiences, and you bond with people in ways that you would never imagine. So the song is kind of is inspired by that, and it's just about what sometimes you have to go through these really hard times in order to get to the next level in your life, and understand that as cool as stuff is, life is not about your stuff. It's about the people and the relationships that you have. And the music industry and the bass community is a perfect example of that same thing. So I'm very fortunate to have seen both sides of that.
Well, every time I see you, you always look happy. You always have a very upbeat attitude. So I imagine that's more difficult at some times than other times. But I admire your strength and your courage, and for getting through all that with such a positive attitude.
We're all very blessed in so many ways, and every day is a gift. And so sometimes it's those wake-up calls that make you realize that. And every song could be the last song you play, so play the hell out of it.
We happen to be sitting here at the Kala booth at the NAMM Show. Look at all these Kala U basses. I know you're very big on the Kala U bass, and we talked about it some during the last interview, but tell us a little more about what you like about the Kala U bass and why you play it and all that good stuff.
Well, the technology that they've come up with the strings allows a 19-inch string to have the same kind of solid fundamental that a 34-inch electric bass or a 41-inch string bass would have. So that part of it is phenomenal. And the fact that they were able to marry that with the time-honored style and of the ukulele, it just made sense. And it's portable. You plug it in, and it sounds big as a house. And they have different qualities. I have 4. I have 1 fretted acoustic and 1 fretless acoustic, and the fretless acoustic is really fun because you can slide around and play upright like things, and then I have 2 solid bodies, 1 5-string with an incredible low B, and then the 4-string has these newer strings they developed that are more less sounding like gut strings and a little more like electric round wounds, and so I use those. And there's 1 track on my album, a song called Which Way is Santa Fe, and the whole track is all ukulele basses. 9 tracks of ukes. I'm playing one like a conga, I'm playing one like a bass, then I'm playing like rhythm guitar, then I'm playing fills like flamenco, kind of Tex-Mex fills, and then I did a whole bunch of like a little miniature mandolin orchestra with the steel string one, where I'm doing all the little trills.
Is that track all just you?
All ukes, yeah, it's all me.
No,
the whole
all
album.
you.
Yeah, you. It's all me, and it's all ukes. It's ukes and me. Yes.
You uke.
Yeah. I'm a uke. And then I plugged one into an effects processor and got kind of a mariachi trumpet sound, and so the whole track is made up of 9 different ukulele basses, and I love it. It's a song I wrote with Don Williams years ago, and he recorded, and it's as close as I'll ever get to singing a country song. So for those that might be interested in that, check it out.
You know, some
may not be.
I've been familiar with the U basses for I don't know how many years, and they just never cease to amaze me. And to take something and then take it to the next level, like you just described, with that creativity is really incredible.
Absolutely, and the portability factor, is just
you put it in your pocket practically.
Yeah, and it's really fun. I love that basses, new kinds of basses. The world doesn't pay attention to these things like bass players do. So you pick it up and you play it and people go, what is that? It's like, well, it's a ukulele and it sounds like a bass. It's a ukulele bass. It shouldn't be that hard of a stretch. But, I love it when people give you that look like, what are you doing? To me, it's like, well, I'm having fun. How you doing?
There you go. Well, as you mentioned, the strings, the proprietary strings that they use are a big part of the sound, but I know you're also very high on GHS strings for your non-uke basses, and you play just about every kind of GHS string there is. Tell me a little bit about GHS strings, why you like them so much.
Well, it really, I think my favorite is still the pressure wound string, which is what some people call half rounds, where they basically take a round wound string and smooth it out so that you still have the presence and the high end of a round wound string, but it's got a smoother finish, and especially like, for example, on fretless bass, it really sounds good because you can control the amount of what they call moi, or the way the note blooms.
How do you spell that?
I think it's MWAH, I believe, moi.
I think they're 2 A's.
You have to say moi. And so you can kind of control that by how, like if you play it real straight with no vibrato, you wouldn't know it was a fretless bass. So for me, I found
if it's in tune.
Yes, exactly. It played with confidence in tune. And so then over the years, different basses like my electric upright that I've had for 35 years, the Fleischmann, the only strings that have ever been on that are the bright flats, which are just one step darker than the pressure wounds. And they've just always been the perfect sound for that bass. Because it's a complex tone, and I have a bunch of different pickups, and those strings are just the sound of that bass. And then for other things, like I've got an old P bass with the flats on them, which are great. I've got the black nylons on a few things. They've come up with some new, the Studio Boomers are a newer round wound string. They're really good. And it's just every time I get a new bass, and I have a lot of basses, I love to be able to experiment and find the perfect string that's the marriage for that bass and what I was hearing that sound. And a lot of times if I buy a bass with strings that I like are on it, I won't change them until I really have to, and then I'm trying to get right back to that place, because that's, to me, it's like I bought that bass because I like the way it sounded with those strings on it,
But most people don't think of GHS strings on an upright or even an electric upright, so that's...
Well, the electric upright that I have is a 36-inch scale, so I did have them, they made slightly longer versions, because this was when back in the 80s, there was not a lot of 35-inch scale basses. So a 36 was kind of an anomaly, and they made them for me kindly as a custom thing. And now I think you can get those extended ones standard, because the scale length now, we can be as short as 19 or as long as 38. So it really depends. But to me, I'm just fascinated with the bass and sound and tone, and it starts with your hands, and the next thing in line is the strings, and then you got the bass and the pickups and the wood and the other stuff, and eventually an amplifier. But it all, to me, starts with the way it sounds when you're playing the bass, and you got the right strings, and it just feels good. You got the right gauge, and it's just like it's like butter, that feeling where you're not thinking about the technical end of it. You're just expressing yourself, and I think that's the goal of all musicians.
Absolutely. It's great to see that you're still keeping so busy. Congratulations on that new record and everything else that you're doing. So what else lies ahead for you? What about the future? What else would you like to do that you just haven't gotten around to yet?
You know, I'd like to hopefully bring the All Bass Orchestra back to life, maybe next year at NAMM. I didn't have enough time to really line up the sponsors and stuff. We did kind of a reunion of sorts in 2014.
I was there.
And had a great time, and so I'd like to bring that back, but I'm going to be out touring more, just trying to, you know, basically doing the one-man kind of coffee house tour and try to get out, because Nashville's a great place to tour from. You know, there's a lot of things. There's Doug Wimbish, my man. Always the man. Gotta love Doug Wimbish.
I love Doug. I've interviewed him, I think, 3 times.
Joy. There's a man with some joy. Yes. I love that. He and Victor Wooten are about tied, you know. But, you know, to me, to be able to get out and do some more gigs and you know, selling a few CDs and just sharing the music with the world. I'm getting great response to the new record. The reviews have actually been a little mind-boggling. I'm so close to it I can't tell, but I think it's good. And what I'm really pleased about more than anything is that the songs, people are relating to the songs and the lyrical content of the record as well as the instrumental stuff, because the songs are really about what's in my heart and trying to get, you know, some positive vibes out there, because the world is full of a lot of negative energy these days, and you know,
that's why I like hanging around you.
Yeah,
you help me forget all that.
Positive, you know. So there's a lot of songs on there about that very thing. A song I was going to do last night, but I didn't have enough time. It's called "There's a Healing Coming." You know, it's like if you believe it, it's there. You know, and we got to all get on that page.
Tell everybody again the title of the album.
The album is called "Angel in the Ashes," and you can get it on iTunes. And if you get it on iTunes, go to DavePomeroy.com, and I will send you the liner notes and the booklet, because I'm very proud of the cover art and everything. And it explains a lot of the crazy concepts behind the songs, and it's also at DavePomeroy.com, along with all kinds of stuff.
All kinds of great stuff. All kinds of positive, happy stuff. Well, Dave, it's always great catching up with you. Congratulations on the new record.
Thank you so much.
And we'll look forward to the tour. If he's coming near you, go see him. It'll make you feel good.
That's awesome.
On location at the 2017 Summer NAMM Show, Anaheim, California, with our good friend Dave Pomeroy.
So the man. He is really the man.
I am the man, John Liebman. You're watching for BassPlayersOnly.com. You the man.
Thanks, man. That was great. Always a pleasure.